Hello and welcome to Program 7. Let's jump right into it. So we start out with our basic stuff, just the project number, the date it's due, whatever it does, and our main function. You'll notice this time we have an extra library included, fstream, and we'll need that near the end. So let's start out with our functions. We'll start out with our build array function. So we have, it will return an int. It is build array. Here we go. And it takes an array variable. And that's it. For the function itself, we need to first set our iterator variable, so int I equals 0. Then we just need to enter in a do while loop. So while I is less than 12, since we can have a maximum of 12 scores, cin, and then we want to use the array at index I. So this will 12 times go through the loop, ask for a number, and put it into the array at index I. Next up, we need to build our function to print the array. So this one doesn't return anything, so we do void print quiz array. Oops. Hang on just a moment. Void print quiz array. It takes a string that we'll just call title for now, the array, and the number of quizzes that there are. There we go. Then we need to see out the title and a new line. See out just a whole bunch of dashes. Then another new line. Then we need a for loop to go through the array quiz count number of times. So for int I equals 0, I is less than quiz count, I++. Then inside the loop, we need to see out quiz, then a set w2. There we go. Followed by the quiz number, so that would be I plus 1. Since I starts at 0 and we want the first quiz to be quiz number 1, we need to add 1 to everything. Followed by a colon, a couple of spaces, and it's freezing up on me. There we go. Then we need another set w2, followed by whatever is in the array at that point. So that is array I. Finally, /10, since they're all out of 10 points, and a new line. And that is it for that function. Next up, we will be doing our calculate quiz average function. So for that, it will return a double. It will be calc quiz average. It takes the array again, and the number of quizzes. There we go. And before we do anything, we need an integer value to store the total score on all the quizzes. So int total equals 0. Then we need to loop through the array to calculate that total. So we'll do for int I is less than quiz count, I++. Inside the loop, we will just do total plus equals array I. That will loop through the array and add each value in the array to total and give us the total number of points that we want. Next up, we need to figure out which are the lowest 2 quiz scores and drop them. To do that, we will declare another array that we'll call sorted. We'll make it 12 units long since that's the most number of quizzes we can have, and we'll initialize everything to 0. Next up, we need to call our copy array function that we still need to write. So copy array, and we'll pass in the sorted array, the original array, and the number of quizzes. And I need to change the name of array because that... Oh, nope, we're all good. So quiz count. So that will copy whatever is in array into the new sorted array for however many elements there actually are in that array. Then we need to go about actually sorting the sorted array, which we will also write here in just a moment. So we will pass into that the sorted array, and again the number of quizzes that we have. We need to figure out the 2 lowest dropped scores, so we'll do int dropped, and at this point the sorted array will be in the correct order, so the lowest 2 scores will just be the first 2 elements of that array. So we can do int dropped equals sorted 0 plus sorted 1. And finally, we will declare an average, so double average equals. We'll need to cast as a double the total minus the dropped scores. So double total minus dropped. And we need to divide that by the total number of scores minus 2. So we'll do another double cast. We need to multiply everything by 10 because that's just how the math works out. 10 times quiz count minus 2. Then we multiply the whole thing times 100 to get a percentage. There we go. And then we just return that average. Now let's make the function to actually copy the array. So this one, whoops. There we go. This one doesn't return anything, so it is void. We'll call it copy array, just like above. And it takes a, which order did I put them in? Destination, source, count. So we'll need a destination array, which we'll call dest. A source array, which we will just call array. and the number of elements to be copied, so int quiz count. All right, and all we have to do for this is there we go, int I equals 0, semicolon I is less than quiz count, semicolon I plus plus. Whoops. There we go. Curly brace. We just need to do array I equals, no, I have that backwards. We need dest I equals array I. And that is it. We just return after that. For sorting the array, she wants us to use a selection sort. So we will get the function set up. It doesn't return anything, so void sort array. It takes in the sorted array. So here we'll just call that array. And the number of quizzes, so quiz count again. Go. We need 2 nested for loops. So we'll start out with for int I equals 0, I is less than quiz count, I plus plus. We'll declare a selected variable that will just set equal to I, so it will be the first variable, whatever the first index in the unsorted area is. Open up another for loop. We'll do int j, int j, and we'll set it equal to I plus 1. So it will loop through the array whatever is left after this index here. And we'll set that to go until quiz count as well. Now inside both for loops, we just need a simple if statement for if the current array in index, if whatever element is at this j index is less than whatever is at the I index, or no, the selected index will be set equal to j, saying that it is the lowest element in the array. So if array j is less than array selected, we will want to set selected equal to j. Then once we have that done, outside this for loop, we will just swap whatever is at I and whatever is at selected. So we'll make a temp variable, int temp, and we will set that equal to array, let's go I. Then we will set array I equal to array selected, and array selected, selected, set that equal to the temp variable. And that will just swap the values around. Then we just need a return at the end of that, and that should be the end of all of the functions we need. Inside of main, all we have to do is call the build function. Well, first we have to declare our scores array. We'll just have it equal to 12 elements, set everything equal to 0 to start out. Then we need to declare however many quizzes there are, so int quiz count, and that will be determined by our build array function, which we will pass in our scores array. If I can spell today. There we go. Next, we need to calculate our quiz average. So we'll just do that as double average equals calc quiz average. We'll pass in our scores array again. Scores and our quiz count. Oops. Quiz count. There we go. Finally, we will print out our array with our print quiz array function. That one takes a title, which we will just say is quiz scores. Then it needs the array and the number of quizzes. Finally, we will print out our quiz average. We'll do that with cout. Your quiz average is, followed by a space. We will pass out the average there. There we go, average. And then just a %sign to cap it all off. And we'll throw a couple end lines just to make it easier to read. All right, let's run this and see how it works. Make sure there are no errors. It looks like there are a couple. So we have on line 37. Here we go. That should be set W. And then down here, I missed a semicolon. Let's try that again. Let's see, copy array identifier not found, sort array identifier not found. That is because I have my functions in the wrong order. If I copy all of these functions, put them below main, now that we have all of our function declarations below main and just the prototypes above, it should be able to find everything. So if we run it now, it should still give us an error. Build array must return a value. Oh, right. So in the build array function, after the while loop, put a ++ in there, so it actually increases I. We want to return whatever I is, so we know how many quizzes we actually put in there. So if we run it now, there we go. We want to put in just some random numbers. There we go. There's all of our quizzes. It prints out our quiz scores, our quiz scores down here, and what our average is, dropping the two lowest. So it would drop this quiz 1 and quiz 11. Let's go back to our build array and make it so we can put in however many we want. So we don't have to do 12 every single time. To do that, we'll declare another variable in here. We'll just call it, I don't know, score. Set it equal to 0. cin, store it as score. And then we will do if score is less than 0, we will return I right there. So it will exit the function. Whatever I was at the beginning of that, it will put that as the quiz number, quiz count. So int I equals 0, do this. Let's see, I equals 0, 0, 0. Yep, that should work. And then here we just need to do array I++ equals score. Let's try that out real quick. Wait for it to compile. There we go. So let's do 5, 5, 5, 5, -32. All right, so we get 4 quizzes, average is 50, that makes sense. So that is all working. That is the first version of the program she wanted us to do. The second version involves processing a file of quiz scores. Everything stays the same except for this build array function right here. The only change we really have to make is at the beginning, we need to declare a file, which we do with ifstream. We'll just call it file for now. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Then we need to open it, open the file. So file.open. I have my file saved as quiz scores. It should be like that for everyone. There we go. We need to check and see if the file is open. So if file.fail, so if the file fails, we need to say that the file wasn't opened and exit the program immediately. So cout, the file failed to open. And then exit, and we'll exit with a code of -1, just to say something wasn't right. All right, next, all we have to do is replace this cin with file, and that should be all of the changes we need to make. If we run it now, I believe I have the file in the right place. Let's see, I'm missing a closing bracket on line 54. Oh, I put that semicolon in the wrong place. There we go, that should do it. File failed to open. So let's see what is wrong there. Here we go. So as you can see, the file that I have is a different name. So I'll have to go back in here, change this name, and that should do it. The file failed to open again. Alright, I figured out the problem. I still had the name of the file wrong. So if we run it one last time, there we go. We get quiz scores at the top. All of these scores are in order. We get an average of 87%, and it exits successfully. If you followed along this far, that is the end of version 2 and everything for this assignment. All right, thank you for watching.